News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a very good morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the News First studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And amongst a sea of controversies, protests and apparent lack of good governance, we have in our studios this morning the Honourable Dinesh Gunawardena, Member of Parliament, former senior Cabinet Minister and a senior politician. Good morning to you, Mr. Gunawardena.
Morning to you, Mr. Pass.
Now, how goes your aspirations to be the Prime Minister? How's it going? Do you think it's going to come to light?
Anyhow, the JO is the strongest force in the opposition today.
Right.
The only force that can muster and challenge the government and defeat the government under the leadership of Mahinda Rajapaksa. We are marching forward. The government is very clearly on the defensive.
Are you marching forward, or are you being a thorn in the side of progress?
And no progress as such. No national policies have been declared or implemented for the last 2 years. It's ad hoc. It's like I once mentioned, Mr. Faraz, in the last budget, it's like a bull in a china shop. Government does one thing today, another thing tomorrow, takes over this tomorrow, closes up. There are no plan or a policy that they are going ahead, except that they just want to survive as a government.
But we have the Right to Information Act now.
We have, that's good. We have right to information has to be implemented.
Right.
That's not enough. Right to information.
Is the joint opposition happy about the state of the economy?
Not at all. We have been questioning the state of the economy, running of the government, running of the economic ventures, and the total failure of the government in delivering the economic benefits to the country.
I got a question this morning as I was because we let it be known that you'll be on the program, and the question was on these lines, and it says here to ask you, what are your plans? What would you all have done if you all were in power? What would you all have done? How do you intend solving all these economic problems that are going along? What would you all have done differently? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a general question. One thing is, we never allowed rice prices to go up to this exorbitant levels where every household is today, screaming about rice prices.
Yeah.
One big mistake was the government announced that we should not produce that amount of rice that we were producing when Mr. Rajapaksa handed over government. That itself is, even from the late Prime Minister D.S. Senaka's time, all agriculture ministers, governments have pursued self-sufficiency in rice. Now, that was a major mistake because 70% of the country is involved in farming. Secondly, we handed over economy which was economically stable, with China coming in and all the...
but there's an ever-growing debt.
Debt is a part in every economy, I would say. Even the US economy is in debt. It is how you manage and whether there's economic growth.
What was your the Rajapaksa plans for Hambantota Port and for Matale Airport?
Yeah, Matala and Hambantota, of course, was built with Chinese assistance. There were another stage, 2 stages to be completed.
Yeah, which is what they're doing now.
No, but I'm sorry to say that they're handing over 99 years of a lease, plus maybe another renewed 99.
Now, on that note here, I've made some numbers up, the numbers is not only to do with the bond. Now, this government has handed over a 99-year lease to the Chinese. 15,000 acres for the payment of 1.2 billion US dollars, spread over 99 years. Now, if you break it all down and multiply the exchange rate of 150, 99 years, if it's 100 years, it's 120 months. 12 months in a year, 1,200, sorry. It works out in rupees at 5 million rupees a day in rent. Are you telling me that there is no corporate in this country, maybe the top corporate is John Kills, Haley's, Expo. These all and Aitken Spence. They're all in the logistics business, apart from other things. Now, if they were, I'm sure that they collectively can quite easily cough up with 5 million rupees a day in rent. Why have you, as the opposition, let this thing go? Why have you let them get away with it?
No, they have not been able to get away. They are still facing the challenges and criticism that was posed. They have not yet got the approval of Parliament. Secondly, 99-year
So what you're saying is this agreement is not valid still?
Agreement has to be approved by Parliament, such an agreement. I mean, you know, both of us know that Hong Kong was returned to China only 15 years ago, after a long lease. When you get into a long lease, we had Havelock Park, given to for 99-year lease. We got it back only, I think, last year. So 99-year leases are not today implemented in any of these projects in the world. As you say, Sri Lankan entrepreneur could be brought in, and a limited period of a lease could have been brought in, where Sri Lanka finally benefits in the long run. But this is a total blanket cover given, plus 15,000 acres of farmland. Most of it developed under foreign assistance or foreign loans, and for Mahaveli. The farmers should benefit, you see. But today this outright thing is going on. Today they are considering the same 99-year plus another 99-year for Port City Colombo.
That's right. That's right.
Where has Parliament given approval for a 99-year lease for a government that has come for 6 years? We are not under the British rule. Of course, then the British had the country. You see, they gave their companies 99, 100-year leases. This is the basic problem. The government has totally let down the country on this issue. We are opposed to the 99, plus we are opposed to this type of number of acreage being given of farmlands. China can come in, no problem. Chinese investment, Chinese joint ventures, definitely. But the government is, I think, on a blind track.
And you see, it's actually working out per day at 4,981,000. That's how much $1.2 billion multiplied by 150, and you divided that by 1,188 months, and you get an idea of how much it is. If you break it down per day, it's 5 million rupees. And it's all in foreign exchange. All the ships that come in.
Will we get this outright now? No.
Yes. So what is
the amount that we are getting? When? And
what were your plans? What was the Rajapaksa?
No, we had a plan of leasing for a shorter period, and for the investment to be completed, and then for the industrial zones to be planned and discussed and approved. There were plans, there were projects coming in, environment-friendly projects, as well as key infrastructure, because this port is in a key hub in the Indian Ocean.
The argument is that the Rajapaksa administration are now, through the joint opposition, taking umbrage on the Hambantota matters. But the other side of the flip side, as they say, is that the Rajapaksa government are the people who sold the lands. They didn't enter into these leases. The Shangri-La land, for example, and Port City, former Port City, these matters have been sold. So how's the argument hold then?
No, the initial agreements that were pursued for Port City and the Hambantota was totally different to what they are pursuing today. Today we will not get it back for 100 years or maybe 200 years.
What about Colombo?
When I will not leave
Port City then?
Port City also, there were development that was envisaged, certain amount that was available for other investment for Sri Lanka on our side, and the areas that will be concentrated in the Port City. The government has not yet announced their full plan. The government has not come for approval to Parliament. Are we going to have governance, so-called governance by, this type of rule? Secondly, these are matters that will indirectly, or the suspicion that it will affect our security, because this is a key area in the Indian Ocean maritime lanes.
Well, why is the joint opposition only just the words, joint opposition? Why is it not, why can't you be recognized in Parliament as the official opposition? What's the legal impediment?
Good question. We have been in opposition, 51 members.
Yeah.
We have been voting, and we are the most critical and constructive opposition from the people's view.
But you're all elected under this UPFA.
No, I mean everyone has been elected. Mr. Bandaranaike was elected under the UNP. He quit and came to the opposition.
But
many members have come. And Dr. N.M. Pereira quit and came to the opposition, recognized by the Speaker. So those are these reasons that are given. I don't think it falls under any of the parliamentary practice. Speaker's role is who are in the opposition, who enjoys the majority, should be recognized. He can't say opposition is part of the government. No. He has two sides for us. Left, the opposition, right, the government. That is how parliaments are run. Now here, in order to deprive the JO of its official position and the criticism as well as being the alternative government, we have been deprived, and they just appointed a 16-member leader, Honorable Sambandhan. I respect him as a senior politician, but he is not qualified to be the leader of the opposition.
Because
he doesn't have the number of members plus number of votes.
So is it the question that Karujaya Surya is poor at maths, or what is it? What's the problem?
I don't want to deal about his mathematical
prowess.
But it is a grave error, not only for Parliament, but for democracy. You can't run a democratic government with good governance in this manner, where you are depriving the major opposition of its country the true role in Parliament.
Why can't you all support the leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, is the lead partner of the UPFA? Why can't you?
No, they are not lead part of the UNP. They are under the Prime Minister, who is the UN leader of the UNP. And leader of the House has been repeatedly saying, we form the government, the others are with us, it's true, but we form the government, it is our government. I mean, it is very clear that it's UNP policies. You and I know Mrs. Bandaranaike's policies of SLAP was not these policies of selling off everything of the country.
But Mrs. Bandaranaike's policies led this country to its knees. And thank God for J.R. Jayawardena and his laissez-faire policies. We must agree about that.
Laissez-faire policies came as a result of change of the U.S. economic policies. U.S. economic policies are now changing again. Let us come back. There's a verdict given by the people of America that America must first solve its problems than going out and interfering other people's affairs. So I would say,
Yeah.
I mean, I disagree. Mrs. Bandaranaike brought certain role for the state,
Yeah.
because the people need its protection and in development. Otherwise, how could we have become the most literate state, second literate state in Asia, and the second best health service in
Is there a
Asia?
difference between literate and intelligent?
Plus, no, that is a different issue, but the key literate index plus best health services second to China, to Japan is Sri Lanka. All this is because of the welfare policies that we have all enjoyed, and every countryman in this country has enjoyed.
Thank you for that. Now, a question from one of our viewers. A serious difference between the joint opposition and the government over Chinese investments, ETCA, CITEM, VAT. But when it comes to perks and privileges, the joint opposition takes all. 100,000 rupees, duty-free permit vehicles, etc., etc. She's asking you for a response, so he or she.
Yeah, no, it was not a proposal of the joint opposition. Never proposal of the joint opposition. All these things.
Yeah.
We ran government.
Are your 51 members also participating in this 100,000 business and the duty-free permits and all that?
Duty-free permits, yes. Our MPs all have benefited right through. I mean, it's not only under this government.
Right.
Right through. It has been from Mr. Jayajayavarden's times, and nothing new.
But what are you all doing as the de facto opposition in that case? What are you all doing? We noticed that this Loon project, the Google Loon project, to try and bring Wi-Fi connectivity to the whole country at a cheaper price. So we have apparently one of those balloons crash landed, but the minister says it was a controlled descent. It was so controlled that when it landed, they didn't know where it landed until the villagers called them. But then we now find out, after some members of the public have raised it with our network, we find out that the ICTA are sort of engaging or trying to engage a private company to sell or market or allocate the spectrum of frequencies. What are you as opposition doing about that? Why do we need this mystery third party whose name's listed in the Companies House, but we don't have a company registration for it yet?
Yeah, for us the thing is, all these third party mysteries are coming in under this government. They say we are open. Nothing is open. Public do not know. Luckily, certain individuals would do some study, research, follow up and expose. These, if you take all the projects that have been proposed or that is planned, there is a third party, hidden party that is involved.
But wasn't that the same under the Rajapaksa government?
No, Rajapaksa government was very fairly clear on what we were doing. We need not go into areas that we could not plan out a program. That I must say. Certain things were challenged, exposed by the opposition. That's correct. But today the situation is where you take the alliance, you take the port deal, where the Minister of Port and Shipping says no, it should be 60%. My port authority is opposed to this deal of what has been finalized with the Chinese company. You know, there's big difference. Coal deal, the Supreme Court says we are shocked at the coal deal.
But we went.
Why? Because of the hidden hand. Hidden hand.
There were hidden hands there too, like the Matala airport. Even though it was a new international airport and obviously very, very few passengers. But if you looked at the duty-free sales, there was no way. Each of these passengers allowed 2 liters of liquor, for example. Well, sorry, but if you examine the figures, that doesn't speak. It was much different. Of course, now there's been plenty of time, 2 years, to cook the books. But that's what happened.
Yeah, first.
And that happened under Mr. Rajapaksa.
No, a lot of things happened. I don't say, but Mathala was a great step forward. You know, we planned for a second airport for 35 years, you know. I know, but Mr. Premadas appointed a committee.
Yeah.
Thereafter, it didn't come through. Second airport was a necessity. That is the first issue we must look at nationally. Okay, how to get the airport? We got the assistance, set up the airport. Flights were coming in. It might not take off in a day. That may be. But flights were coming in today. Mathala has become important.
Yeah.
So it shows that the practical decision making of establishing Mathala in the long run is a massive national asset. What did the government do? First they announced that it should be a paddy store. What a foolish decision the government made. No government in the world.
Was that a decision made purely on kind of a jealousy, petty jealousy?
Jealousy, very much.
Or did it make economic sense to use it as a paddy store?
How can it make economic sense with first a running airport? Which
maybe it was so you could store the paddy there and the planes would land and take it all away and export it to wherever.
Well, that is a possible thing of the new government that came into power for economic development. Store paddy in an airport and fly the paddy out. What a situation that our country got into of this mismanagement.
Indeed. But why is it now that the international community, the so-called watchdog of democracies all over the Western world, why is it that they're silent on things that are patently going wrong now? Why have you all not been able to garner this in support of the international communities?
We have been, the joint opposition has been explaining and plugging our line, canvassing, lobbying international agencies as well as explaining what is going on. They have been very receptive. Secondly, the international community itself, I would say, is rather in a turmoil internationally with the EU crisis, with the US crisis. Perhaps it takes a longer time for them to warn the government. Of course, the IMF has warned the government. They're on the wrong track. If you don't put your country on the correct track, it will be very difficult to revive the economy. It's an open secret because the rupee is falling. At the rate the rupee is falling and our foreign exchange reserves leaving the country, where are we heading to?
Towards a possible election soon?
Elections we have been demanding for the local bodies because they are collecting the taxes and no council. They are spending the taxes, which is illegal. They are running over 300 councils illegally. People are paying taxes.
But what are you all doing?
We are pressing and we'll continue to press. And we will force the government to hold the elections in the local authorities, which is...
What do you think? What's your gut feeling? When will that happen?
Within the next 6 months it has to come. We are planning to get it in within the next 3 months. Let's see whether the government will...
Won't it all happen much quicker if that slight problem, the problem of your leader, you need to find him a job. You need to find him, you need to park him somewhere. Isn't that the real problem here? MR. Isn't it the MR problem?
No, it's a MR problem because government is frightened to hold
Isn't it about time that he retired gracefully?
No, people want him to continue and government is frightened that if they hold elections, MR will lead and win. This is the problem.
Viewers on this phone in here and I can't quite hear what they say. MR and what problem is it? No, can't hear. Oh, they say the MR and the rest of the R's.
Well, not only rest of the R's, the political opponents being victimized. But the government has not been able, even after that, to hold the election.
When you say that, I want to read part of this statement by the former President Chandrika Kumaratunga. For once he said something that I can relate to. Somebody has to be responsible. But she's talking about the Tamil people, and then she says, but Tamils are more concerned about their future. All right, but in terms of this, somebody has to be responsible. What happened to all this money that has been supposedly creamed off by the former government? What's happened to it?
These are charges that are being made and acquisitions that are being made. One has to establish now for us. How long now? 2 years have gone. The same charges are made about Mrs. Bandaranaike, Chandrika's mother.
Right.
And that she abused the LRC Act.
Right.
And, made her extra land into someone. Who made that allegation? The UNP government.
Right.
Were they able to establish it? No. Right through it has been so. The UNP has been wanting to victimize the SLAP and their partners when they are defeated.
But are you all sort of, through your actions, are you not actually supporting Mr. Vikram Singh and his party? Because when you're a split, it's a bit like that bond thing. You had the EPF losses at about 14 billion, and you had a private company who made just under 13 billion. So average Joe in Sri Lanka, average Mr. whoever on the streets, say, well, 14 was lost by them, 13 was made here, nearly 13. Therefore, we know where the money went. It's a simple
arithmetic.
It's a simple arithmetic.
Right.
Okay?
That's why.
So in the same way, what do you all say about that? What about all this government? Every time we question any minister, they tell us religiously, like a mantra, but it happened in the other government too.
No, let us come back. This goes on, that's why I gave the example. This goes on, they'll make allegations. And if they can't establish, that shows that they are bankrupt, the government politically bankrupt. It has happened during every UNP regime. Let us take the issue of Mahaveli. Mahaveli was also accused by us. Our government came to power. Mahaveli went into heavy debt of the country. True. Chandrika Bandaranaike came to power as president. Did we keep on saying under Mahaveli we have robbed? No. We accepted that it had been put up infrastructure, made use of that for the country. The whole game of the UNP is they are politically bankrupt, that they keep on accusing people. But this is the latest technique, of regime change. Take the personalities and hit them hard, their image to be tarnished. These are the latest tactics right throughout the world today.
So what you're saying is that right now we are seeing a move to regime change.
The regime change will come because people are on all fronts. Government has failed, all fronts, except the front of running government, holding office. Take cost of living.
Will there be a cabinet reshuffle? What's the inside information?
Cabinet reshuffle will have to come because of the economic crisis, not because of anything else. It's severe economic crisis plus the failure of the government to deliver the basics.
Isn't it all because they have to pay all the debts for all the monies that was borrowed under the Rajapaksas?
Not at all. That's not the issue. They can't manage politically. They are in a crisis because economically and monetary crisis is overtaking the government's imagination. Government's imagination is over. From all fronts, it's collapsing. I don't want to say I'm opposed to the government. I'm critical of the government, but government could have managed much more better than what they have brought the country to.
Dinesh Gunawardena, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We appreciate your time and your effort, and of course the early start, because you were here for Pathikede, weren't you?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the program. We look forward to welcoming you again on our network.
Welcome.
And that's it from Newsline this morning. We'll take care, and we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow morning. In the meantime, take care and God bless.